All right, we are just about 3 days post the extravagant event of Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. I wanted to take a few days to kind of just process the whole event. The first thing I'll say is it was a phenomenal event in terms of just the production, the commentary, just all the things like that. I mean, and we knew that Netflix was going to do that. We knew that they were going to put on nothing short of just a phenomenal, well-produced event. I mean, they are I'm sure, a multi-billionaire company, so we knew that all of that was going to be there. Just the entrances, like the ring walks, even like the area around it just looks so clean and nice. And I really hope, and I don't think this is Netflix's only boxing event, but I really hope that Netflix boxing events are a more common thing because it just looks so nice. So, I mean, I honestly would love for Netflix to put on like big world championship fights. I mean, honestly, they've got the bag to pay for events like that. So, like, when we get big fights between freaking Tyson Fury Usyk or Joshua Fury, or just big fights like that, Canelo fights, Crawford fights, fights like that, I would love to see put on by Netflix. And it doesn't have to be at a big stadium like it was for this fight, but just production-wise, they hit it out the park. So well done to Netflix on that. Before we talk about the main event, let's talk about just some of the other fights. I mean, it was just a really well put together card. That's another thing I'll give it credit for. Like the only downside to this event really was the main event. Everything else was phenomenal. I know Netflix had some streaming issues, but like I think we kind of expected that to happen. The amount of people going to watch that on Netflix would cause some server issues, and it did for some people. It didn't really for me a lot, so I'm sure it was just by chance who it affected. I don't really know, but other than that, the streaming was great, and some of the fights were great as well. None of them ended in a knockout, I don't think, which was surprising. The co-main event was just a phenomenal fight. It was basically very similar to their first fight. Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano, well done to those two ladies, put on a phenomenal match. However, you cannot tell me that Amanda Serrano did not win that fight. I think she 100% won it. At the very least, she won with the 5 rounds to 5 rounds, but Katie having the point deduction. But I thought Amanda had won 6-4 or maybe even 7-3. But Katie Taylor does get the win. I don't know if they're going to run it back. I mean, I don't want to say there's not a need to, but like they fought twice and technically Katie's won both decisions. But I mean, we could see those two fight over and over again. Like I really just felt Amanda got robbed. I thought she even won the first fight. I definitely think she won this fight, but hey, it is what it is. Boxing, judging, scoring really needs a change because it's really not doing any justice and it's just not doing well right now. But let's talk about the main event. Jake Paul, Mike Tyson. Both had some dope walkouts. Let's talk about that. Two different vibes. Mike Tyson gave the more serious vibe, just straight coming out to the ring. He came out in his little robe thing that he usually used to wear. Jake came out in a full-on lowrider. Walked out to In the Air Tonight by Phil Collins. For those who know Mike Tyson, he sang that song in a movie that he starred in. So a little bit of last minute trolling. He came out, Logan Paul was in the lowrider. The Pigeon was in the back seat of the lowrider, which was pretty funny as well. So they made their entrances, and man, it was surreal seeing Mike Tyson walk to the ring. Like, as a fan of boxing and as a fan of sports in general, like I don't think people really fully understood. Like, Mike Tyson is a legend. Like, that would be like Michael Jordan coming back for one last game or something along those lines. I mean, I wouldn't say Tom Brady because Tom Brady's not that far removed, but like it just had a special feeling about it. And if you knew boxing, you knew this was not going to go in Mike Tyson's favor. And I mean, say what you want, call Jake cheap for taking this fight. Like, I like Jake, but this was not the best move for his career. It just wasn't. But like, anyways, Mike Tyson coming out, having that aura about him. First round starts, and Mike had a decent first round. Like, he didn't look terrible. I mean, he obviously looked slower, older, but like, if he hit Jake with one of those punches clean, I mean, I think it would have hurt Jake, would have knocked him out. I honestly doubt it. But like, hit the first round, and then the second round, he didn't look awful. Really, it was round 3. He just started to really slow down. Jake just started to break him down bit by bit. And Jake was throwing some heavy shots in those middle rounds, 3, 4, 5, and 6. You could really tell. Jake did a post-fight press conference, and someone asked him if he started to take the foot off the gas pedal a little bit, and Jake said yes, he did. And for all you might not like Jake, I fully believe him on that, because come round 6, heading into like 7 and 8, you could really tell he was not going for the knockout. Like, even his trainers, I could hear their trainers in the corner. I think it was Third Chambers that said, look, you can stop him if you want to. And Jake just never put the gas on to try to stop Mike after 6 rounds. So that tells me that Jake just had too much respect for Mike. He knew Mike was beat. He knew he could sit there and outbox him. He knew at that point Mike was not going to throw anything to hurt him. And he did take his foot off the gas pedal a little bit, so I'll give Jake respect on that aspect. And yeah, I really don't like that Jake took this fight. It's just, I understand why. One, he made a bag. I think he made like 40 million. I don't know if that's confirmed or not. And two, I mean, I know the reason he took it was for, I mean, obviously the money, but like to say that he beat Mike Tyson. Now, obviously that has such an asterisk to it. It's a 58-year-old Mike Tyson. But he did it for that. He did it for the experience of being, but like, what did this do for Jake's career? To me, it just didn't do much. Like, he's not going to get fights that he couldn't have already gotten. And to me, Jake just needs to be fighting contenders. I mean, maybe not contenders, but like, at this point, if Jake wants to be a world champion, he's got to start going the world champion route. And this is just not a world championship route. Like, again, I like Jake. I mean, if I met him in person, I'd shake his hand. He's cool. I like him a lot more than I like Logan. But I don't know. Like, something about this just didn't feel right. And if Jake really wants a world championship, he's got to get on a world championship path. And I still think he can. He's still young. He still has some of the best trainers in the world. And to me, this is almost like, for people that watch TV shows, movies, I almost view this as non-canon to Jake Paul's boxing career. That's just kind of how I view this. Like, I didn't have the same, like, I don't know how to describe it. Like, the 2-minute rounds were weird, so that threw me off already. But I just didn't have that same nervousness, that same, like, this is a real boxing match that I did when he fought Tyron Woodley, Tommy Fury, Anderson Silva, Andre August, Ryan Borland, Nate Diaz, Mike Perry. Like, I just didn't have that same, this is a real fight. And I'm not saying it was staged at all. Like, for everyone that thinks this is staged, that's a bunch of bullcrap. Netflix would be out of business right now if they put on a staged fight. That's highly, highly illegal. And I don't think Mike would have signed up for something that was rigged. And like, you can't rig, I mean, I guess you maybe could, but like, you could tell by the way they were throwing their punches. Like, that was not a rigged fight. Like, rounds 1 through 4, they were both trying to kill each other. Now, Jake backed off a little bit, but no, I don't see that as a rigged fight. But it just seems so different to his previous boxing matches. So I just view it almost as non-canon, and he needs to get back on canon and get right back into business. I'd love to see him fight first quarter of 25, either January, March, April. Wait, January, March, April? No, that is not how that goes. January, February, March. I'd love to see him fight in some time like that. And it needs to either be, if he wants to do another MMA guy, it's got to be the best of the best striker, his size, his age. I'm talking, I mean, I think Conor would be fine. If Conor was able to do that, I would not blame Jake for taking that fight. But outside of him, I'm talking like an Alex Pereira, and that's just not going to happen. So I think your best bet is to go down the boxer route. They're not super old, and they are his size. So I'm talking, like, the best fight for me and for Jake's career right now is the Tommy Fury rematch. Now, Tommy Fury's booked to fight Darren Till on Misfits in January, so that makes me think that Tommy wants the KSI rematch, because that's why he would be fighting on a Misfits card. However, I think that is his best option, would be Tommy Fury rematch. I still think the KSI fight would be fine. If he wants to do like a Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. fight, I think that would be fine, because he's not super old yet. He's older, but he's not Mike Tyson old. And I wonder if that fight is what's next, because I remember when Jake and KSI's managers were going back and forth, Jake's manager, Nikisa, said that he wanted the KSI fight in February. because May was booked for Cinco de Mayo weekend, which that makes me fight. That doesn't make me fight at all. I don't know, I'm stupid. That makes me think that Jake might be fighting someone of Mexican or Hispanic descent. And I don't think he is going Canelo yet. I think that's for a Cinco de Mayo weekend way years down the line. So I wonder if the Julio Cesar Chavez fight is next, but I don't know. Overall, my thoughts on this fight, Jake, I don't think he should have taken it, but kudos to him for not completely flatlining Mike. I'm glad he had enough respect to do that. Yeah, to me, it's just such like a non-canon event to Jake's boxing career because I could not get a gauge on how good he is. He just didn't, I don't know. He also said he completely tore his ankle 3 weeks before the fight, so I don't know what to take away from that. Everyone goes into a ring with injuries, but I mean, I guess that is a pretty serious injury. So yeah, this just, how good is Jake Paul? To answer that question, I think he's good. I really do think he's good, but I think he really needs to showcase that. He did in the Mike Perry fight, and the Mike Perry fight I think is an underrated fight. Mike Perry's a bare knuckle guy, which is a lot more similar to boxing than the UFC is. Has strong hands, is powerful, close to Jake's age. He's just a little undersized, but I think that was a fine fight to take. And Jake looked great in that fight, in my opinion. Phenomenal. Yeah, this fight was just weird for me. So what's next? I think he needs to go down the traditional boxer route. He doesn't have to take a trash can name. He can still get someone like Tommy Fury, who has a decent name with a good record, a younger guy that's his size. I just think that if Jake really wants world title aspirations, I think that's what he's got to go with next. And yeah, that's all I've got. Make sure to like, subscribe. That was a fun fight week, regardless of what I think of the fight. The whole fight week was really fun. So I am excited for a new big boxing match. And I'm really excited for a brand new fight week to take place. I think the next one I want to do is Fury Usyk. That's going to be a great fight. I can't wait to break that one down. So yeah, once we get to there or whatever we end up talking about next, see you guys on the next